Hello and welcome to my hopefully sound fixed audio problems not here, hopefully. So, China has a space station now. And this is interesting. I just was kind of reading up on some stuff today that I didn't know about. 19 days ago, they put a crew on this space station. So I'm just going to play this video in the background, or I hope you're seeing that. Yeah. This is their first spacewalk. But there's a few interesting topics. Why would China want to build a space station when we already have an international space station, right? Well, I heard about this a long time ago and I never really looked into it. NASA banned them. Like, no, China, you can't come up here on this space station. So we're going to read about that. But then we're going to read about this space station. And there's some interesting blasphemy here that is undeniable. So what I mean by that is if you read the Bible, it's very repeated in the Bible where the throne of God is. And that happens to be in the sky, in heaven, above the earth. So we know that Lucifer says in his heart that he's going to ascend into heaven and exalt his throne above the stars of God. Now, you know, I already talk about the International Space Station. But they're even more blatant with their blasphemy. And it's because they don't understand that it's even blasphemy, because they don't believe in God. They might think they believe in God, but they're trying to go where God lives. They're trying to overthrow his throne. So let's see, is there anything else we need to see? They do the same thing as NASA. They train under a swimming pool. Or in a swimming pool. But let's do this. Let's just pause that right now. And let's look at the Wolf Amendment. Okay. I'll just read it to you. This is on Wikipedia. The Wolf Amendment is a law passed by the United States Congress in 2011 that prohibits the United States NASA from using government funds to engage in direct bilateral cooperation with the Chinese government and China-affiliated organizations from its activities without explicit authorization from the FBI and the U.S. Congress. In May of 1999, the report of the Select Committee on U.S. National Security and Military Commercial Concerns with the People's Republic of China was made public. It alleged that technical information provided by American commercial satellite manufacturers to China in connection with satellite launches could have been used to improve Chinese intercontinental ballistic missile technology. Okay, in 2010, this dude urged Barack Obama not to allow further contact between NASA and the CNSA, which is the space agency in China. In a letter addressed to the president, he wrote, "I have grave concerns about the nature and goals of China's space program and strongly oppose any cooperation between NASA and CNSA's human space flight programs without congressional authorization." Sorry, China. You're not allowed. So that was kind of strange. So what does that do? Like, China, obviously, they have capabilities. So what do? They build, okay, I might say this wrong, but Tianyang, that's what my guess is. Space Station. Taingong. I'd say gong, but I'm pretty sure it's not. Chinese pinyin Maybe that's how you say it. I'm not sure. Okay, ready? I want to talk really quick about what blasphemy of God's tabernacle would be. Because that's something that happens in the end of days in Revelation. Well, to blaspheme God's tabernacle, well, first, where's God's tabernacle? It's in the sky. So, they name that word, whatever, pinyin, Tianyang, whatever it is, heavenly palace. Do you guys see a rivalry? Maybe that's not the right word. Do you see a competition? That's not the right word. Do you see a war getting ready to happen? I do. A battle? Do you guys see that? There is talk of these heavenly palaces. And that's what China has named their space station, a heavenly palace. And what's interesting to me about that is I've heard several NASA astronauts say things like castle in the sky, things like that. Now, since I believe the Bible, and I believe what Jesus said, and I believe he's coming back to do the things that are written in that book, there is already a castle or a palace in the sky. And it is heavenly. But there's no way to get there on a rocket or any kind of corruptible thing that man could make here on the ground. There's nothing that can get you there. And just like it says in John chapter 10, Jesus is the door to the sheepfold. The many climb up or try to climb up the wrong way. And yeah, I don't want to butcher that section of scripture. Okay, so the heavenly palace is a space station placed in low Earth orbit, 210 to 280 miles above the surface. The Tianyang space station, once completed, will be roughly one-fifth the mass of the ISS and about the size of the decommissioned Russian Mir space station. Okay, let's see. Okay, here we go. Their operations will be controlled from their control center. The core module, the Tianhe, Harmony of the Heavens. Okay, there's more blasphemy right there of God's tabernacle. It's written about in Revelation. It's written about in Daniel. It's written about all over the place. Dominion of the host of heaven taken by transgression. These beasts, these kings of the earth that arise out of the earth. You guys should be able to understand what these things are. And it's not really a question of whether or not, oh, I don't agree with your interpretation. I'm not interpreting anything. Actually, all those prophets, they were describing visually the things we see flying up to space and putting satellites and all these things up there. You know, all that stuff that they put up there is coming down all at once. That's not going to be good. Okay, we'll keep going here because there's some interesting the reason why they named it some of the names. Just wait here, you'll see. Okay, so Deng Xiaoping, I don't know, decided that the names used in the space program, previously all chosen from the revolutionary history of the People's Republic of China, would be replaced with mystical religious ones. Thus, the new Long March launch vehicles were renamed Divine Arrow. Let's do something really quick. I knew I was going to do this. I just didn't have a chance to do it before I went live. So check this out. Somebody already shot divine arrows. It was Nimrod in the land of Shinar. Look at verse 26 in Jasher chapter 9. And all these people and all the families divided themselves in 3 parts. The first said, we will ascend into heaven and fight against him. Watch this. If I do this, ascend into heaven, and I right click it, and I hit search Google for ascend into heaven, I'll bet you'll get Isaiah chapter 14. Somewhere here. And I might be wrong too. Okay, let's do, wait, what does this say? Oh, okay, it's talking about the ascension of Jesus. Good, I'm glad that they're talking about Jesus rather than... Usually Google would be going the other way. Okay, we'll just get rid of that page. I thought for sure it would give us Isaiah 14, because that's what Lucifer says in his heart. In the whole Bible, I don't know how many times it says intentions of the devil, but it does in Isaiah 14, verses 12 through 14. It says exactly what he wants to do in his heart, and what he says in his heart. And he says, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. We know what these words mean. So that's what these people did, though. See, they were under they had Lucifer for their father. They believed in what he wanted rather than believing God. So the first part said they'll ascend into heaven and fight against him. The second said we will ascend to heaven and place our own gods there and serve them. Kind of reminds me of like satellites. Place our own gods there and serve them. We can get internet from satellites with Starlink. Sounds like that's what they're doing. The third group, they said, we will ascend into heaven and smite him with bows and spears. So these... Oops, not that one. So these, they renamed them Divine Arrow, the space capsule Divine Vessel. By the way, you know what the word divine means, right? Let's just search for it. Of, from, or like God, or a God. Excellent, delightful. It's like of God. That's what they're kind of saying. So, yeah. Okay. So, Divine Vessel. Now, also they have Space Shuttle Divine Dragon. So, that'll be 2 dragons. Wow. Dragons all over the place up in the firmament, huh? Land-based high-power laser Divine Light. Who's the light of the world? Who created light? Think about it. These people don't probably realize who they're trying to war against. But I can see it clearly happening. So China, they do... Okay, there's more here, though. Okay. These poetic names continue as the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th Chinese lunar probes are called Changs after the moon goddess. The name Tianggang, or whatever, means heavenly palace. Okay, let's see. Where was it? Okay. Purpose and mission. According to China Manned Space Engineering Office, the purpose and mission of Tiangong Space Station is listed as further development of spacecraft rendezvous technology. Oh. Like this, it's like, maybe it's not the right word, but redundant, what they're doing up there. What kind of experiments, what kind of science are you doing on the space station? Well, we're doing experiments on the human body to see if we can live in the space station. It's just like stupid. Oh yeah, we're going to see if we can get used to living up in space so that we can go farther out. Or we're monitoring our hearts and our bone mass, and noticing that the moment we get up there, our bone mass starts disappearing. We start dying. So we have to do rigorous exercise and weightlifting to try to keep some of that bone mass, and they still have to learn to walk when they get back. Crazy. What is it about people that do they not think about this? Do they not think about what they're trying to do in their heart? Let's just look at it. Okay, because I just want to go to Isaiah 66. I just want to show you that this is not my idea. Not at all. This is being revealed in the Word of God because rockets and these space vehicles and things exist. Before they existed, nobody would understand this, would they? But look what God says. Heaven is my throne. Thus saith the Lord, the heaven is my throne, and the earth is my footstool. Where's the house that ye build unto me? Where's the place of my rest? For all those things hath mine hand made, and all those things have been, saith the Lord. But to this man will I look, even to him that is poor and of a contrite spirit, and trembleth at my word. I just know. Okay, let's do this. Verse 6, look at this. A voice of noise from the city, a voice from the temple, a voice of the Lord that rendereth recompense to his enemies. Yeah, you know what? Let's read about God's final judgments against the wicked. Starting in verse 15. For behold, the Lord will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. So I wonder what that looks like. What do his chariots look like in a whirlwind? What do they look like? Do they look like a rocket? Probably not, but I think there's something to be thought about there. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. You know what I think he's pleading with all flesh? By teaching us about his creation, his 6-day creation. And some of us call it flat earth, some of us call it the 6-day creation, some of us call it enclosed earth. You know what it is, though? It's something that none of us knew. He taught us something new that's true, but none of us knew it. We all believed a lie. So that's why I encourage people to set down their what they think they know, because we've all been there. I used to think I knew something about the world I lived in, but then I've spent 5 years looking into that now, and wow, was I wrong my whole life. Just a quick example is, why do you think the earth rotates? Show me a reason. Tell me a reason in the chat if you're someone here that thinks that the earth rotates. Tell me why you think the earth rotates. What made you think of that? Or was it something that you were taught? Because if something made you think of it, just put it in the chat. I want to know. And I'm being sarcastic. There's nothing that happens on this earth that any one of you observes that would give anyone the idea that the earth is rotating. If you point up to the sky and start talking about the lights in the sky, you're not talking about the earth anymore. You're talking about lights that literally move in the sky. So the sky turns, and people think they're turning. It doesn't make any sense. I'll keep reading here. They that sanctify themselves and purify themselves in the gardens behind one tree in the midst, eating swine's flesh, and the abomination and the mouse shall be consumed together, saith the Lord. For I know their works and their thoughts. It shall come that I will gather all nations and tongues, and they shall come and see my glory. Let me do something. He mentioned his glory 26 chapters earlier. So we're going to look at that. It just reminded me of that. His glory is something that would be revealed. Something that obviously was secret or was not known or whatever. Look what it says right here. And notice while I'm reading this, that these verses, Isaiah 43 through 5, that these actually literally describe the surface of the earth, the terrain, the surface of the ground becoming flat. That's what these verses describe. Check it out. The voice of him that crieth in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill shall be made low. And the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough places plain. And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed. And all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. I also think that is talking about biblical cosmology or the 6-day creation. The actual literal truth about the world that we live in. God made it just the way he said, just the way Moses wrote down in Genesis. Ezra wrote it down in 2nd Ezra chapter 6, I think. Where else? Jubilees 10 or 2? I can't know it. I think 2 maybe. I can't remember. There's other places where it's described in 6 days, and then he rested on the 7th. So I just wanted to keep reading this. Okay. And I will set a sign among them, and I will send those that escape of them unto the nations, to Tarshish, Pul, Lud, that draw the bow, to Tubal and Javan, to the isles afar off, that have not heard my fame, neither have seen my glory. And they shall declare my glory among the Gentiles. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Lord out of all nations, upon horses and in chariots and in litters, upon mules and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain, Jerusalem, saith the Lord, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Lord. And I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Lord. For as the new heavens and the new earth, if you're a flat earther, there's a new earth that you have become aware of in the last few years. Brand new. You didn't know it. And actually, let's go back here and let me show you something. Let's see. We'll go 2 chapters. Watch this. Where does he say, I will do a new thing? Well, here's one verse, verse 16. And I will bring the blind by a way that they knew not. I will lead them in paths that they have not known. I will make darkness light before them, and crooked things straight. These things will I do unto them, and not forsake them. But let's see. Maybe it's the next it's the next chapter, I think. Okay. Right here, verse 19. Okay, verse 18. Remember ye not the former things, neither consider the things of old. Behold, I will do a new thing. Now it shall spring forth. Shall ye not know it? I will even make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Look at verse 21. These people have I formed for myself. They shall show forth my praise. Look at, he's pleading. He says, let us plead together. Put me in remembrance. Declare thou that thou mayest be justified. So God's going to put witnesses into the world at the end to preach a message, a new message In Revelation, they sing a new song that the world couldn't learn. I hope you can learn it, this song. Let's see here. Oh man, these is good chapters. Okay, anyway. Okay, for as the new heavens and the new earth, which I will make, shall remain before me, saith the Lord, so shall your seed and your name remain. And it shall come to pass that from one new moon to another, and from one Sabbath to another, shall all flesh come to worship before me, saith the Lord. And they shall go forth and look upon the carcasses of the men that have transgressed against me, for their worm shall not die, neither shall their fire be quenched, and they shall be an abhorring unto all flesh. The words of Jeremiah. That's another good. Okay, so let's go back to here again. Okay, let's look at some of these words. Okay. The precursor space labs would be called Heavenly Palace. And let's see. So that was Tiangong 1 launched in 2011. And then the second one in 2016. The large modular space station would be called Tiangong as well, without number. The cargo transport spacecraft would be called Heavenly Ship. The modular space station core module would be called Harmony of the Heavens. The experimental module would be called Quest for Heavens. And the second module would be called Dreaming of Heavens. Oh, their space telescope will be called Touring the Heavens. I don't know. It's not really hard for me to watch this subject. Just space exploration. That's all this is about. If they stopped going into space, which they won't, then things would be different. But they're not going to be different because it was already spoken a certain way. There's the will of God will be fulfilled, and we're watching it take place right in front of us. So now we're going to do something interesting. Do you guys even know, are you even aware of what SpaceX is doing at all? We're just going to do a little Google searching. Oops. We're just going to look at SpaceX.com for a minute. I want to show you their Dragon. Sending humans and cargo into space. 27 launches, 24 visits to the ISS, 10 reflown missions. The Dragon spacecraft is capable of carrying up to 7 passengers. Okay, hold on a minute. I just want to show you guys something. Lots of either coincidences or actually, I know it's not coincidence, but where was I going? Revelation 12, I think. I'm not even sure. I just lost my train of thought here. Let's see here. Yeah, let's do Revelation 12. So, there appeared, this is John. This is his testimony of what he saw in his vision. It's very simple. He's just describing the things that he saw. And we know that because he says, I saw this, I saw that. There appeared, behold. All these words are when you're looking at something. So, and there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. Let's just do this. Whoops, my mouse is not working very good because I still haven't replaced the batteries. Okay, let's just go like that, and let's do search. Okay, what happens if we do images? Wonder if we're gonna get... Okay, here's one over here. Biblical literalists say end is coming. I'm actually surprised that there's not more of this right here. This is what comes to mind when September 23rd, 2017. If you're not familiar, I'd say the best way to get familiar would be to go type in Revelation 12 sign into, let's do it right now, then I'll get you a link actually. And we should get Parable of the Vineyard somewhere right up at the top. Somewhere right there. Maybe. Or maybe I should have done in 5 minutes or something like that. Or 3 minutes. I can't remember. Adam made a good video about this. Here it is. Or this is in 5 minutes. So we'll just do this. I'll get you a link for it. If you haven't heard about the Revelation 12 sign, that is a possibility. It is in the... I just put it in the... I'll spam it in there. And while you're there, make sure to subscribe to Parable of the Vineyard. He goes over the whole thing, all the verses, and you know, it gives a good explanation of what people see as a possibility for something coming to pass. Well, if that came to pass, what's interesting to me is this. Whoops. Okay, so he saw that, and he was looking up in heaven, and it was a great wonder, and it appeared. Okay. Look at what he says right away. He looks up there again and sees something else. And there appeared another wonder in heaven. So he's looking up to the same night sky. And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. So that's what interested me. A great red dragon. Well, I could probably play a video, but let's see. Actually, let's see. Maybe I should play a video really quick. Maybe part of a video. How about that? Let me just see if I can find it here. Video. I didn't plan on watching this, but I think we should. Maybe we'll watch the whole thing. There's a pastor in California that points out some of these very interesting things. I got another thing to share too that I just heard Neil deGrasse Tyson say. That'll come after this, or a little while after. Let's see here if I can find this. Explorers. Oh yeah, this one right here. Let's check this video out, see if it'll play.
He comes from above too. And that's why, go back to Revelation 12 again, Revelation 12. That's why he's swimming out there in outer space. Oh, there's where you get your men from Mars. That's where you get those aliens flying in those saucers. That's your adversary. That's Satan, because go to Isaiah chapter 27 verse 1. In that day the Lord with the sore and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan. Well, that's clearly the devil. The Lord's punishing the creature here. Leviathan, the piercing serpent. There's your reptile. Even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea.
This is video of SpaceX's Crew Dragon approaching the International Space Station. And the video is taken from the space station, and it is a time lapse. So that is the SpaceX Dragon that they're flying up there now. And that vehicle was designed for a program back in 2011 or something called Red Dragon. And here is some information about that. It was a mission to go to Mars. Okay, so that I just wanted to point that part out right there. That is the reason why the Red Dragon with the 7 crowns, because remember we were right here, and it says the Dragon spacecraft is capable of carrying up to 7 passengers to and from Earth orbit. Look at having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his heads. That's interesting stuff. I mean, and look what happens. His tail, actually I'll let Dr. Gene Kim talk about that here. Elon Musk and SpaceX came up with, and NASA was involved in it too. But that was canceled or whatever, discontinued. And so now they fly it as a means to bring people and cargo to the space station.
Where is he swimming? That's the idea. Where is he swimming? He's swimming in the sea. There are several places we're going to look at. Go to Genesis 1. All right, there are 2 places that your enemy is actually swimming. He's actually swimming above, and he's actually swimming below. Let's cover Genesis chapter 1. Notice what God did with the sea. The Bible says in Genesis chapter 1, and then we'll read verse 6. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. Okay, so this firmament is somehow this middle thing, okay, whatever it is. Let's call this firmament for now. We don't know what it is, but all we know, it's something that's called a firmament that's in between. In the midst of the what? Waters. So in other words, this firmament has to divide waters from above to below. Now, is that true? Yes, it is above and it is below, because keep reading that passage. It shows there, let it divide the waters from the waters. And God made the firmament, and God divided the waters which were under the firmament, right? And from the waters which were above the firmament. So let's say this is firmament, water below, water above. What's the water below? The water below is currently your ocean today. Look at verse 10. And God called the dry land earth, and the gathering together of the waters called he what? Seas. But look at verse 9. God said, let the waters what? Under the heaven. Firmament is called heaven. Look at verse 8. And God called the firmament heaven. All right, so we see here, wait, we could probably guess then. Oh, so then the firmament right here would be where people talk about those aliens flying and those UFO, and then the gods come down from above out in outer space, and etc. and etc. Let's see here. 14. God said, "Let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night." Look at verse 16. God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also. And God set them in the firmament of the heaven. Look at that. So that clarifies it then. That's confirmed. So we are right that this is the firmament, that this is heaven right here, where the stars, sun, and moon would be. And then the Bible says the waters under heaven, at Genesis 1, God called it seas. So then we can obviously see that this is referring to our current sea today. But there's another sea that's above, and that has to be above the universe. Is that true? Yeah, go to Revelation 5. It's called Sea of Glass. That's the floor of heaven. If that's the floor of the top heaven where God is at, then it shows here that, then it would make sense. This would be the roof. This would be above the universe. It's right in between the universe and where God resides. So let's look at Revelation chapter 4, and then the Bible says at chapter 4 and verse 3, "And he that sat was to look upon like a jasper and a sardine stone." And then you'll notice at verse 6, "And before the throne," see, that's where God resides, in the throne, "there was a sea of glass like unto crystal." So notice sea of glass. So another sea. God called it the one below sea. Right here above is sea, but it's not liquid. It's not pure liquid form. It's a sea of glass. So we understand that Satan, this is his dominion. Amos 9. So then several places that Satan will come out of is he can come from below. Look at Amos chapter 9. He can come out of this sea here. He can come out of this sea. Look at verse 2. Verse 2. "Though they dig into hell, then shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down." Notice God was talking about heaven above and what? Hell beneath. You notice that? He called this hell beneath. If this is hell beneath, then notice what God worded. Up heaven, down hell. And notice the up and down again. Verse 3, "And though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out from thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the" what?
Bottom of the sea.
Bottom of the sea. What's below the sea?
Hell.
Hell. That's pretty obvious. If you go lower and lower, the lowest part would be actually bottom of the sea. That's the closest you can get to hell. A region that's closest to hell is bottom of the sea. Out of everything that you go throughout the earth. So the bottom of the sea, would Satan be there? Read the next part. "Thence will I" what? "Command the serpent, and he shall bite them." He comes from above too. And that's why, go back to Revelation 12 again. Revelation 12. That's why he's swimming out there in outer space. Oh, there's where you get your men from Mars. That's where you get those aliens flying in those saucers. That's your adversary. Look at Revelation chapter 12. Notice at verse 3, "And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon having 7 heads and 10 horns." So that's Satan, we know that. But look where he's swimming, verse 4. "And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven." See that? He's right there. I told you so. "And then cast them to the earth."
Okay, so this next little clip right here that I have in the video is a SpaceX Dragon launching, and then you'll see the rocket coming back and landing. I think John saw this already. I'm positive he did.
So that's where you get your alien activity from. That's where you get that strange stuff where people are scared, not just below, but from above. Here's something interesting. If you look at below as you go through the sea, it gets darker and darker.
Right, right.
All right, and then if you go up there throughout outer space, yeah, you go to something that's darker and darker too. Why? Because Satan is known as the Prince of Darkness.
The Prince of Darkness, the rulers of the darkness of this world. We have to start paying attention, guys. I know that Jesus is teaching us. And he's teaching people all over the world the same things. Otherwise, why would I make a video with Dr. Gene Kim in it? Dr. Gene Kim is preaching about the very things that I've been learning about. And so that's why I appreciate the things he says. And I put them in videos and try to use imagery to show you guys what I believe that John was writing down in Revelation.
All right, that's something to... You go home and fast and pray about that for a while.
So, Red Dragon. That's what they designed that vehicle for. It's called the Crew Dragon. I think it's interesting that it can carry up to 7 astronauts. Let me go back to the desktop here. I have another video that I grabbed called Firmament Breach. A lot of people say, no, you can't, nobody can make it through the firmament. I saw someone in the chat made a great comment a little earlier. I'm going to go here and try to find it. Let's see here. I think it was, let's see. It might have been Monica Scamoni S. Where was that? I think that it was. And maybe oh, right there. Could be the little horn came to my thought. That came to my thought a long time ago too. And for a long time I've considered it to be just look at what's on the screen right now, and if you lived thousands of years ago, would you maybe describe that as being an animal, like a he-goat with a notable horn between his eyes? Something to think about. Because I think Daniel saw that and described it, and you know what it ended up doing? It waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the host and of the stars to the ground. So it's that same little horn that made some of the stars come down. And in Revelation 12, it's the dragon's tail that makes cast some of the stars to the ground. I think we clearly know what this thing is, you guys. And a lot of people might look at this and go, "Oh, you're funny. Satan's not a rocket." I beg to differ. That's what these guys are describing. John said that the dragon was Satan. And, whoops, for some reason my internet's a little slow here. 7 passengers, 7 heads, and 7 crowns. Oh, maybe it's because I have that. Let's see here. Oh, I guess I'm just having a little bit of slow time here. 4 astronauts. Starlink mission. Okay, let's do this. the Falcon 9 rocket. Let's see how many times they've landed. 64 reflown rockets. 82 landings. Wow. Starship. Do you guys know what they're doing with this? If you actually want to grasp the scope of what they're doing, there's a few channels you could subscribe to. NASA Space Flight, that's one of them. You wouldn't believe what these guys are doing down in Texas. It's quite intimidating to actually, let's do this. Let's go to YouTube and just search for Boca Chica. Maybe this will give us a little, I don't know if I can, I'll just play it without playing sound, but they have one of the boosters built, guys. And they've been building a huge launch tower. First of all, let's do this. How tall is Starship? Well, let's just look at this graphic here. Just to give us an idea, it's quite a bit bigger than the Saturn V. And it does a lot more. I mean, it'll have a lot more payload capability. Now, payload. Okay, it's kind of ridiculous, but the amount of money that it costs to put a pound into orbit, okay, is a ridiculous amount. And it's all going to be thrown back down on our heads. And I say our heads because I can't discount myself from this world. I live here too. That's why people need to be saved. Saved from destruction. Saved from fire. We just read about it in Isaiah 66, didn't we? Or was that 67? I don't remember. I think it was 66. Okay. Let's look at their launch tower or something here. I want to... Section 7, that's the... I think there's 8 sections. Let's just go to this top one and just see what video we get here. We got an ad first. But, yes, I think that it is the Little Horn. Thank you, Paul Levi, for coming to this gathering. I think it's fun. Okay. Do you guys understand how tall this is? And it's not necessarily the height. I don't care about how tall it is. Do you guys want me to show you why am I doing live streams talking about rockets? Probably half of the people that are here think that they're just all fake. Why would I be talking about it all the time? Because the prophets showed me to talk about it. Well, first of all, let's do another Google search. And let's do loudest sound ever. Loudest sound ever. Let's just see what it is. Created by humans, the atomic bomb blast. Okay, over Nagasaki and Hiroshima. Okay, those clocked in at around 250 decibels. NASA's highest recorded decibel reading was 204. And that was the first stage of the Saturn V rocket. 310 decibels is loud enough to kill you. So if it's human-made, and it isn't a detonation, like the moment of a detonation, it's going to be a rocket. The loudest sound, okay? Let's see here. Or an eruption of a volcano, I think. Let's just see what it says. Loudest sound ever made by a human. Okay, so yeah, it would be the Saturn V if it wasn't a detonation, a moment of detonation, because that's obviously loud. But NASA's highest recorded decibel is 204. 204. Okay, let's do this. Louder than 204. What's louder than 204 decibels? 224 decibels is 100 times louder than the 204 decibels from the Saturn V rocket. So I guess the scale of it is quite exponential. Is that the right word? Let's just see here. Looks like anything over 120 is pretty dangerous. Or 85 may trigger hearing loss. Okay. Anyway, you guys get the idea, right? Wow. A shockwave. So anyway, sound. Why there's a rhyme and reason to the things I'm saying. I'm not just talking about nothing. It's very specific. Enoch saw this. Check it out. And it came to pass after this that I saw another host of wagons and men riding thereon. So he saw wagons. I see Watchful in the chat said sounds like a lot of chariots. Like chariots going into battle. That's what a rocket even sounds like. Men riding thereon and coming on the winds. It was flying. These wagons that Enoch saw with the men riding on them, they're flying. Coming on the winds from the east and from the west to the south. And the noise of their wagons was heard. And when this turmoil took place, the holy ones from heaven remarked it. And the pillars of the earth were moved from their place. And the sound thereof was heard from one end of heaven to the other in one day. What sound could that be that Enoch was describing, hearing there? Rin Tin Tin says jet engine is 75, a whale is higher, I think. But you guys get the idea, right? That noise. Actually, let me, I think I have a video in my video player here that has that noise. I just want to play it really quick, if I can find it. I'm sure it's there. Oh, you know what? While I'm finding it, let's check out this rocket going through something. Check this out. Here's the Falcon Heavy. I just want to show you the sound. I think this is the sound that Enoch was describing here. The noise of their wagons was heard. Why would this matter? Why would people talk about flat Earth and say space is a lie? Don't believe it. Why are people warning us about space being a lie? It could be because the Holy Spirit is reproving this world of sin. Think about it. So that's a Falcon Heavy rocket. Now, let's see here. Give me a moment. Firmament breach.
But the thing that's really important to revolutionize space is a rapidly reusable rocket. That's reliable too. So that's really what needs to happen. If that can be done, then the cost of access to orbit and beyond can be reduced by potentially a factor of 100 or more. So that's really what is most important about. It's got to be done by somebody's got to do this. And if you have rapid and complete reusability, then that opens up. That is the gateway to the heavens.
1, 0. Ignition. And liftoff.
Vehicle is pitching downrange.
What a beautiful day for a rocket launch here. As you can see, Falcon 9 has successfully lifted off from pad 40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station, carrying our stack of 60 Starlink satellites to orbit. Moments ago, we throttled the engines down in preparation for Max Q, or the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the rocket
Vehicle
will
is
see.
supersonic.
Vehicle is supersonic. And we should be passing through Max Q here in just a few seconds.
Vehicle has reached maximum aerodynamic pressure.
We just passed through Max Q.
There's waters above, guys. Waters above the Earth. There's the firmament where the sun, moon, and stars are. And those are... It's darkness. It's simply a place of darkness, unless... If there was no lights there, it would be darkness, right? But God put lights there to give light upon the earth. So that's what the stars are. So, how can I make it real to someone? Like, what I'm trying to say is, there's the earth where we live, and then there's outside of the earth. There's a place that's outside of the earth. It's not the earth. And when something goes from outside to inside the earth, something happens. And that's what these landing boosters are kind of mimicking something we've seen for a long time. Something called meteors. Well, what happens? Well, there was one in Russia. Check this out. So the question I ask is, can men get through the firmament? of heaven? Can men break out of this world into the heavenly realm? What does it sound like when something breaks through the firmament? Anything that's ever broken through the firmament is going real fast. So fast that it happens and we can see a meteor or whatever come in with our eyes, and it's like a light streak. And then it takes some time for the sound of it to get down to the ground, because sound only travels so fast. Hast thou with him spread out the sky which is strong and as a molten looking glass? Since December of 2015, there's been a machine that men have built that appears to do the same thing as a meteor does. The sound comes after, like this.
Yeah, there they are. Coming in like meteors, real fast. They're going to do a final burn here in just a moment. There's final burn 1 and 2. 2 candles coming down. There they are. Double sonic booms. Down, beautiful landing. And I see 2 standing. Perfect. Double sonic booms.
There are the twin sonic booms. Landing legs up deployed. Sonic boom. Landing legs up deployed.
What? That's so cool!
One touchdown confirmed. Landing operators moving to left touchdown.
That's ridiculous.
Tell me this. Uh-oh, what do we got here? YouTube's giving me trouble. Tell me this. Are these people, do you think they're deceived? I know some of you think they're deceived, Probably most of you. These people watching these rockets land and they're going, oh wow, oh wow. Let's just watch a couple more. And then I got something to read to you. Second Baruch, chapters 36. Okay, we're not going to listen to Second Baruch right now. These people are deceived. They think that this is like some technological feat that's going to bring us into the future, bring us into space. That's the lie. And it is the second beast in Revelation that's telling that lie and deceiving them. And let me see. Let me go to the desk. Bring you to the desktop. Okay. First of all, this thing in Enoch, that where he sees these men riding on these chariots or wagons, and they are coming on the winds, and the noise of their wagons. Why is that so important to me? Well, because it made the heaven quake, and it is part of the day of the Lord. And if you, I'm not going to go over this right now, but if you want to know why I would be so concerned about these rockets and the noise that they're making, it's because that signifies that the last day is close upon us. The last day of God's long suffering. Michael says this to Enoch: until this day lasted the day of his mercy, and he hath been merciful and long suffering towards those who dwell on the earth. And when the day and the power and the punishment and the judgment come, which the Lord of spirits hath prepared for those who worship not the righteous law, and for those who deny the righteous judgment, and for those who take his name in vain, that day is prepared for the elect a covenant, but for sinners an inquisition. When the punishment of the Lord of spirits shall rest upon them, it shall rest in order that the punishment of the Lord of spirits may not come in vain. And it shall slay the children with their mothers and the children with their fathers. Afterwards the judgment shall take place according to his mercy and his patience. I just know that there's a reason why Enoch wrote down that he saw that stuff. There is. Okay, but that's not where I was actually going. Where I actually was going was right here. Revelation 13. Verse 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Well, just think about this. That rocket, it comes up out of the earth, literally, and it's a two-stage rocket. It has a first and second stage, and it lifts Dragon capsules into orbit. So, check out what it says in verse 13. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. I think that's what we're looking at, guys. He's deceiving the world by landing rockets. Let me see if I made a video about it. Let me see if I can find something here. This is the most, to me, it's the most serious subject that we can be thinking about. Lucifer has taken over this world, and we have a chance right now to realize it and to not be deceived. I might play another video with Dr. Gene Kim in it. I might. I probably will. Oh, Neil deGrasse Tyson, that's what I was going to say. So he said that the moon reflects the sun's light. and that the albedo, that's what he made a video today called "What is Albedo" or something. I think that was the right word. Anyway, the interesting thing that Neil deGrasse Tyson said was that the moon is very close to the color of a car tire, like the black rubber of a car tire. He said it's almost the same. But it looks like a light in the night sky because of the sun reflecting the moon's light. Or the moon reflecting the sun's light. But, he said, but the moon is actually dark. It's just dark. Well, let me show you why that caught my attention. Because it's just another part of this thing I'm seeing. Look what it says in verse 8 here. And the course of the path of the moon is light to the righteous and darkness to the sinners in the name of the Lord. The moon's a light, guys. Believe the truth. God made two great lights and put them up in the sky. Here, let's just look at this moon really quick. Here's what it looks like. And I'll let that play while I'm trying to look for something. Oh wow. I saw a beast coming up. I think this is a video that I did just recently, but let's check it out. Oops. One thing I was going to say is I saw, who was it in the chat? Someone said, why doesn't the rocket go, it was AJ Blunt, why does the rocket not break the sound barrier? They do about, I think it's about 40 seconds after launch, they reach that, the speed of sound. And which is actually, you can see it at the beginning of this video. I repeated it, the vapor cone a few times. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Whoops. I'm having trouble with my mouse. So yeah, don't be deceived by this, guys. I don't care if you're the #1 NASA space fan. Think about this. there's a reason why. I'm just giving you example in my life. There's a reason why I started understanding some of these things. It's not because of me either. It's because of what the prophets said, and I've been sharing that with you as much as I can, that the prophets saw these vehicles. They saw them built. Daniel saw 4 beasts in Daniel 7. And what they were it was the space station and the vehicles that were going up and down building the space station. And then that 4th kingdom, we're watching that 4th kingdom. Ezra was shown that 4th kingdom also. And he saw things flying with the clouds of heaven. I can't remember the exact. It's in 2nd Ezra chapter 11 and 12, I think. But here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to go back to this video here and find the spot where we were. Waves. Okay, here we go. And those waves, trees planted on the plain. Oh wait, that was. Hold on, sorry. That I'm trying to get found in the place which I have chosen in Medes. Okay, here we go. Sorry, guys. Aforesaid are fulfilled. This is your vision, and this is its interpretation. And in those days, the angels shall return, and hurl themselves to the east upon the Parthians and Medes. They shall stir up the kings, so that a spirit of unrest shall come upon them, and they shall rouse them from their thrones, that they may break forth as lions from their lairs, and as hungry wolves among their flocks. And they shall go up and tread under foot the land of his elect ones. And it came to pass after this, that I saw another host of wagons, and men riding thereon, and coming on the winds from the east, and from the west to the south. And the noise of their wagons was heard. And when this turmoil took place, the holy ones from heaven remarked it, and the pillars of the earth were moved from their place.
That's ridiculous.
And the sound thereof was heard from one end of heaven to the other in one day.
Double sonic booms.
I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the 4 winds which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven, and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. And I saw the winds of heaven which turn, and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. I saw the winds on the earth carrying the clouds. I saw the path of the angels. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of the heaven above.